Talk about the dream?
Yeah, your dream.
Not my dream, someone else's dream.
Yeah, that.
So, this is a lovely little church and very diverse. You've got you've got people with dark skin, people with light skin, and John Lumgar does a lot of work with immigrants, helping. I had a lovely conversation with one woman she was from Bulgaria. And she told me the story of how she came to that church where there was like an immigrant cafe, something like that they had run. And that was basically a program helping connect immigrants with English language training, helping them find an apartment. And I guess John Lumgar has really been doing that, and so that had brought her in. And so she told me all of her story about how she got there. So there's some people in the church, and there are two couples from Latin America, and one spoke a little bit more English than the other. And so then after the service, after I talked to a lot of people, someone called me over. Can you speak with these people? And they, how's your Spanish? And it's a little rusty, but I can understand quite well. And the woman telling me the story didn't speak much English, so she told me the whole story in Spanish. And she told me that last April she had a dream, and this dream was very impactful. She woke up after it. She had called her mother. I don't know if her mother is back in, I don't remember which country she came from in Central America, but she called her mother to tell her mother the dream. This dream really impacted her. It made a big impression on her. And so then she's telling me about this, it was like April 15, and she woke up and she was very impacted, so she had to tell her mother, and she told her husband, and she told people about this dream. And in this dream, there was a very tall man who looked very white and had a big white beard and just was very big and very loud and very white. And when she came into church and when I stood up to preach, she said, "There's the guy from my dream. I dreamed about this man." Now, so you want to know what the dream was. It was a very interesting dream. So one of the conversations that we've been having with people in Europe has been sort of the impending anxiety about winter coming. And Tom Holland, in the Tom Holland event, actually spoke about this quite a bit. And so when those videos are released, you'll want to see that part that Tom Holland talked about. Because, of course, with the Ukrainian war, Russia shutting off the gas and oil, Germany, the Netherlands, and the UK, people here are very anxious because they're looking at very... Yeah.
Today we heard tenfold.
Today we heard tenfold, at least for small businesses. The government's going to try to buffer some of the residential housing spikes, or not housing spikes, but energy cost spikes. But they're looking at really insane energy price hikes that are coming down, and potentially looking at roving blackouts, although I hear that's what we have in California with the heat wave that they're under, rolling blackouts. So her dream was that this big white man with the big white beard came to their church, and I hope I remember the dream correctly, and had something like an electrical saw, which was plugged in, and it was electrical saw, and then all of this wood. And what he was doing was using this electrical saw. You know how dreams are, they don't really make a lot of sense. They had this electrical saw and the wood, and this big white man was taking the wood with the electrical saw and making these little molds, these little wooden molds. And I was just using this electrical saw to make these little wooden molds. And then the power went out and everything was dark. And I told the people, don't worry, the saw will keep working. And the saw did keep working, even though the power was out and it was an electrical saw. And I kept making these little wooden molds. And, well, what were these little wooden molds? Well, in these little wooden molds we would basically put light. And so I was giving these little wooden molds to the people of the church and sending them out as light in the darkness. That was the dream. So make of it what you will. I do not make this up. This woman didn't know me at all or anything that we were doing. I mean, I don't know the level of her English skills, but she just basically showed up in church that Sunday, and she had this dream in April, and she had told her mother about this dream. This dream just really impressed her, and then when she saw me in church, you're the guy in my dream. And so, pretty crazy. So that was quite moving too.
Do you have an electric saw?
I have an electric saw at home, but I don't make little wooden molds out of it for basically little lights in the darkness. But so we'll see.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that was quite something. So